sustain, you've got all in. Makes it very difficult for laners to actually deal with, but fortunately when you go towards the jungle, you just don't quite have that same ability to punish in quite the same manner. So not going to see him picked up, at least in this first 2 rotations. Maybe this third slot here could potentially see it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Ezreal picked up, or even if we want to go back towards the Thresh here, strongest support by far in this patch, and then you can look to pair with the Jinx and Aphelios or anything else that comes your fancy.
Well, we're going to see the Gwen picked up again, but this time onto the Ultra Prime side. So they are going to be taking very close notes of the last game and saying, right, the Volibear and the Gwen, we like that, we'll take those away. But to see now what EDG, what they want to go for, the Xin Zhao's already been locked in, so you imagine they will have to go for some kind of, I was going to say, a mid laner that can support it. Lee Sin and Lulu. Lee Sin top, it could be a Lulu top, I suppose, but definitely something we do see quite an awful lot with the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, I think what we're doing here with the Lulu is kind of keeping open that flexibility, right? Because you could also always put it into a bottom lane pair with something like the Kog'Maw, or you can send it towards scouting this mid lane, and the Xin Zhao Lulu combo has been incredibly strong. The speed up, the shields, the slows enable this Xin Zhao so incredibly well, especially in that 2v2 from the mid jungles. Always the opportunity there. On the upside though, instant lock-in of the Sylas coming through from ShiauC, so pretty convinced that this Lulu is going to go mid lane. I'm not the biggest fan though of the Sylas matchup though, because although you can try and get in and go aggressive, when you do get that second land of your chains, you just get the wall growth coming through from Lulu. She slows, she's able to work her way out of that with a lot of space being bought, and then it becomes a little bit more difficult for ShiauC to have that major impact.
And again, Ultra Prime just taking very close notes of the last draft here from EDG, as they are going to pick up the Sylas to go up against it. Still plenty of ultimates they can go. They will not get the Varus, as EDG do ban that one away. And I think Ultra Prime, honestly, I think you need to ban the Kog'Maw here, because you can still flex that Lulu to that bot side. You can still go with that Lulu Kog'Maw that has just got so much agency when they're able to get a lane advantage. And if there's something we know Viper and Meiko could do, it's get a lane advantage, and they do ban it away.
Yeah, especially because you've already locked in the Sylas, you could open up a lot of picks that could actually go against that Sylas in the mid lane as well. But looks like they are trying to see if they can just force that Lulu in towards the mid lane. EDG on the upside though, banning away these AD carries, the Varus off the board. We talked about the Ezreal pretty consistently, Kalista being another one as well we've seen a lot of on this patch. It feels like, at least for Ultra Prime here, you're going to be taking your AD carry on this next rotation and then leaving that support counter matchup for yourself.
See what they do want to go for. Looks like the Ezreal is the port of call as they lock that one in. Now Edward Gaming, they got to decide mid lane and of course their AD carry. If they want to throw the Lulu to the bot side, of course they can go with the Karma, just kind of give a double flex and keep a lot of agency, but a lot of AP damage then. So we'll see what they do end up going for. And it looks like the Kalista might be something. This is something Viper has showed quite a few times throughout his career. Very, very proficient on the pick, and honestly, it feels great to see him kind of bringing this into LPL, because it's not a very popular pick for us right now, but it is a very popular pick for LCK.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it more and more into this Ezreal. We actually saw Viper destroying JDG in their last series with it. I'd like to see a pair with the Nautilus. I think Nautilus would go super well against this team, but I can kind of understand not wanting to give that depth charge across to the Sylas, so may instead opt to go towards the Rakan. That way, at least when you're going in, you can have that quickness that gives a lot of that guaranteed lockup, especially against something like an Ezreal, but also means that when you get close and comfortable with this Gwen, you're still getting that CC as well. It's not going to be denied like it would be with the Hollowed Mist.
All right, now EDG, you've got a hell of a lot of things that want to go in on top of the opponent's face. The Xin Zhao, the Lee Sin, of course the Kalista, a fairly short range AD carry as well, and a perfect response to that is something like the Braum. One good Glacial Fissure, a couple of concussive blows. That is a very, very botched engage and gives a lot of opportunities for the side of Ultra Prime.
Also just screams, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to do anything. We're just going to sit here. We're going to farm and we're going to play nice. And for Hacker, that means he's got a guaranteed play up towards topside, right? We're talking about ZS, who honestly look pretty good in the Viego. Now on towards the Gwen. Against Flandre can work reasonably well as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hacker putting a lot of attention towards his topside and also towards ShiauC in the mid lane. Like in the 1v1, Lulu can do reasonably okay. In the 2v2, it does become a lot stronger when you've got like Xin Zhao and also the Lulu, but if you can burst out this Lulu, you can then turn towards the Xin Zhao and make it a little bit easier for you in that 2v2.
The comps are locked and loaded. Ultra Prime looking to send us to a third game, but EDG may be looking to try and continue their absolute tear into this regular season as they keep pushing towards those playoff spots. I do believe if they hit 9, maybe 10 wins, I believe they are 100% locked in, but obviously a ways away before that does end up happening. For Ultra Prime, it's just about finding positives. It's about finding your foot in the game, making it look competitive, and that is enough of a success for this team, considering the caliber of opponent that they are going against.
Yeah, and now we're going to be loading on to the Rift for game number 2. Look, I think, as we already talked about, Ultra Prime definitively trying to play through this top side. Whereas when you look towards EDG, the opportunity to try and play through that strong mid-jungle 2v2, you definitely want to be trying to play around this bot side. I know it sucks against an Ezreal or Braum, but Kalista, certainly a champion that needs to snowball, kind of a great objective control, and...
Oh, it's all a bait. It's all a bait. They're going to be able to get Flandre down as they're going to be able to one more auto attack. Just one more. The concussive blows will not work. The flash and the safeguard is enough to get Flandre out as this Lee Sin is in this top side. That was almost a great opportunity here for Ultra Prime to really get a foothold in this top side.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. If they'd actually managed to connect that concussive or the Winter's Bite on towards Jiejie, they might have been able to get that kill. But with Flandre being the one that's tanked that up, he has the flash, he's got that safeguard to get away, and nothing comes of it. So nice read here from Ultra Prime, though. Trying to bait in EDG and getting rid of that flash makes things a hell of a lot easier for Hacker if he gets up towards that top side.
Makes it easier for him knowing that Lee Sin does not have his flash. A little harder for him though, as he had to burn his own. Volibear will start off on his red buff. Does not need a leash. As Jiejie starts on his blue. So both junglers will be pathing down towards that bot side. We'll wait to see if anything does come of it. Very difficult to really gank anyone here. ZS going in. And Flandre using that same ward. Oh, that's cheeky. I like that. And ZS... he's going for these really aggressive trades. He's yet to pick up CS, but you can see there just the power of this level 1, which what we expected to see in game 1 from Flandre, and ZS kind of showing him how this champ really works.
Yeah, I like what ZS is doing, though. The fact you're not picking up CS is whatever. When you're able to push Flandre out of experience range, you can see where Flandre is right now. He's barely sneaking into range here as these creeps die, but you're denying basically 1-for-1 when it comes towards the gold, but that experience is so crucial as well. So that's why we're seeing ZS kind of forgiven for that play, but ShiauC not so forgiven as he takes a lot of damage in this mid lane and opens up now Scout to play towards Jiejie on this bottom side and guarantee that bot side's good.
Yeah, gonna be a rough few levels here for ShiauC. It is the way of the Sylas. He doesn't really do well at these ranged matchups until a little bit later on in the game. Needs his Everfrost really to make things work. But for EDG, they have pressure in the spot side to be expected, as you are running a Kalista into an Ezreal Braum. And like you said, not much that Ultra Prime could really do about it. They're not really a team or a fighting or 2v2 fighting team. As Hacker just gets the recall off. They don't know exactly where he is, so they're just waiting to see if they can get anything like that. Jiejie gonna be able to pick up this scuttle on the bot side.
So ShiauC goes for the early reset here, gets that Dark Seal for himself, and now is trying to see like, okay, cool, maybe I can go for this shove now and at least help help Hacker on this top side scuttle, so JJ's not able to get both. Jiejie moving in towards the bot side jungle, though, will spot out Hacker's pathing and now have a better idea as to where this Volibear is going to be situated.
A little confusing when Ultra Prime are literally running the top half of the map that EDG ran in the last game, so can forgive us for maybe mixing up a couple of the names. We just see now Hacker taking away the scuttle to get a bit of an early reset there, just to get himself back and get those boots. So we now see a TP in this bot side. EDG looking for the dive in this bot lane. The exhaust has already been used. We're going to see Meiko try to jump in onto Smlz. His first blood goes over to Viper. And now ShiauC, you haven't got a hope or a prayer. He's just going to try and get rid of these minions as quick as he can. He's maybe going to be able to try and tank up. Yes, he can. This turret is just too OP. They cannot stay here. But Hacker looking for a response. Now Flandre knows. No flash for either this top laner or the jungler as Hacker jumps in on top of him. Safeguard to the minions. And Flandre will escape with his life as well. But he will lose so much in this top side.
Yeah, and already, remember, we were talking about being denied those minions from level 1, so he's already down and in the level department. Now he's going to lose out on this massive wave as well, and oh, they may just look for the dive off the TP in as well. But with ZS being a little bit low on mana, looks like they're going to back away.
Yeah, didn't want to fully risk it. The TP does come out from Flandre, so not going to lose as much as we thought he was going to lose. Still about 15 or so CS behind the Gwen. And now Ultra Prime again. This is just what EDG do. It's just a slow early game. They get themselves a 1,000 gold lead. They push themselves forward. ZS now TPing back into this. Has the Ionian boots and Lucidity, so a bit of cooldown reduction, extra little bit of movement speed. As we can see, Flandre, he has to play respectfully against this Gwen. This Gwen is just going to keep pushing him underneath that turret, and there's not really a lot he can do without jungle intervention.
Yeah, and we talked in the last game about that crazy high base armor. You can kind of see Flandre not really able to do too much since he's been set behind from level 1. Bot side, though, going much better for EDG, right? We said Kalista wants the snowball. She got her kill. She's going to be working up towards that Immortal Shield bow and gives it a very easy side of the map for EDG to play around. And Jiejie now, off the pressure that they have on bot side, looking to see if he can fight against Hacker.
Well, Hacker has got a smite, so it will be a smite fight as it does go over to Hacker. Ooh, Winter's Bite does not land, and Scout roaming down. And this is what I like to see from Scout as well. The Lulu pick is something that is used to facilitate your team, not used to win lane, as we do now see Viper in a lot of trouble. Those flash Winter's Bite, and Viper, you just can't be that far extended without the support of your team.
Great call from ShiauC, though. Flash forward, knows he's going to get that Winter's Bite, and manages to take down Viper. So a little bit of gold going back in favor of Ultra Prime. Unfortunately, though, kill going over towards Hacker, not exactly what they wanted. Would have loved to get Smlz accelerated towards that Divine Sunder, but honestly, you're just happy to have gotten that gold back. And now we're sitting bang even when it comes towards that gold department, although Smlz is still behind in that CS department.
Still able to push it back out as Zhao to cover the lanes, so we'll see the Sheen picked up as well as the tier as a little bit earlier as we look at that replay. And this is just, again, Viper not really respecting the instant go button that ShiauC has with that Flash Winter's Bite.
Yeah, and I love that flash forward there, right? Guarantees that you're going to hit on towards Viper. Incredibly hard to try and get away from it, and it's a nice job there. So, honestly, as you said, Viper too far forward, but Ultra Prime punish well. And now, for Ultra Prime, this is a much better early game, right? No Dragon going over in favor of EDG. This is something we were talking about EDG potentially using this Kalista for. You've got a heavily winning top side of the map. You can see already a 700 gold lead up there for ZS right now. So what, like, you kind of need to start again for EDG, like fresh reset and making these bot lane plays to get Viper ahead on this Kalista.
Wait to see where they want to throw that focus. As of right now, both junglers on the top side of the map, so nothing really going to be going for that dragon just yet. Scout is building up on this Lulu, and this is the part where Ultra Prime recognize if they can stall this game out just a little bit longer, if they can keep this game going to the late game, there's very, if not any, little magic damage on the side of EDG. You have Scout on this Lulu, who's going to be building pretty much full support to try and facilitate the Zhao, the Lee Sin, and of course the Kalista. All very early game champions, or at least early to mid game champions. And for EDG, they need to accelerate this game, and I do like this call from them. They're saying, look, we know you're not going to go for this dragon, so we're going to go for the Rift Herald and force you to come to us. ZS is here, does get landed by the Sonic Wave, as we can see the Bringer of Storms jump straight in. Hacker taking so much damage, the exhaust not enough to keep him alive, and now Ultra Prime are in a bad situation, because here comes Kalista, here comes Viper, they're looking for it, they're going to be able to find a second one. ShiauC goes down, ShiauC in a lot of trouble if he can't get away. There's the quickness, but a fantastic Winter's Bite just stops him from getting that little bit of extra damage. It ends up being the Rift Herald, 2 kills, and the Dragon going over to EDG.
And that could have been a great fight for Ultra Prime. We talked about their top side of the map actually being pretty strong when you look towards ZS, but unfortunately, it was 4 versus 5. Smlz hadn't left that bot lane in time, and it meant that when it came towards it, Viper having more of an impact in that fight, and everything goes the way of EDG. And just when you say, hey, Ultra Prime, you've got it, take it slow, you don't need to try and force things, they don't. They go fast, they lose it all, and they're back at square one.
They could have taken a trade, looked to try and take that dragon. There were so many ways they could have played that a little bit more intelligently is probably the best word I can work for
and it's
that.
something we've seen a lot from teams, right? Is that they're willing to trade that Rift Herald for plays elsewhere, right? Whether it is the dragon or even just trade the turret plate straight off. Like, you've got Hacker who has that level 6. You can threaten the dive on towards Viper and Meiko with that level 6. You got ShiauC as well who's there. Like, there's a lot you can do now. Ultra Prime been moving down towards his bottom lane. Hacker here to see if he can make a play, but it kind of feels like it's too little too late.
Well, Viper is going to be knocked up, stunned up. If he can get one more concussive blow, ShiauC taking so much damage from the turret, and he will fall in a 1v3. He still comes out with a 1-for-1, and that is not great if you're on the side of Ultra Prime. And to be able to soak up all of this wave as well, not being able to deny it. Yes, it's denied from the Kalista, but it's not denied 100%. And it's just little small things from Ultra Prime that we've seen a couple of times, specifically from ShiauC, just tanking a little bit too much, not really respecting the damage that's coming down specifically from the tower, and ends up trading back. Very, very unfortunate there for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, and Hacker not having that ultimate available to try and switch off the tower as well means that it's a bit of a disaster. Now, second objective going the way of EDG with nobody on this bottom half of the map for Ultra Prime. So, and again, a little bit of a gold lead going EDG's way. And Ultra Prime kind of left scratching themselves going, right, I mean, we tried to fight up towards the Herald, not going our way. We tried to make the play, but it's not going our way. Just need to get that, again, that consistency from Ultra Prime in these fights.
You can see now Ultra Prime just roaming towards this top side where they have the strength as Flandre has been ignited, and there's 3 other players coming up at this top side. The Ezreal ult does not land. Flash Q from ShiauC secures the kill. Not quite sure if he needed that 100%, but while that's been happening, we can see bot side the Rift Herald has been dropped, and Viper's getting himself a boatload of gold.
I appreciate that ShiauC's using his flash off cooldown, but I think that could have been better served on anyone else in that play. And it's not like Flandre was going anywhere, right? He's stuck underneath the tower. There's no minions. You just walk under and you kill him, bud. Alright, well, now Jiejie has found Hacker.
Oh, Hacker has to flash away. They do have Smlz here to try and dissuade Scout, but Scout is not dissuaded. He is not convinced that Smlz is enough to stop him from getting this kill, and it ends up being given over to Jiejie. Nice combination there between the Zhao and the Lulu. They get enough poke damage down, and this is again what we love seeing from EDG. Slow, methodical, build up the gears. Cool, we know what our champions do, and I think this is something we talked about a lot last season of EDG's strengths. They just understand the game at such a core level so damn well. They know where they're strong, they know what fights they can and cannot take, and it's just small little unforced errors more than anything else that really do, you know, hamper them in these fights. And speaking of hampering them in fights, Flandre, he's just baiting. Oh no, ZS! It's just all been a bait. As we can see, there's the TP from ShiauC, and you can see ShiauC coming up as well, so maybe they're going to look for maybe a little bit of an engage. Steals away the Zhao ultimate, not quite able to get it. There is the Glacial Fissure though, nicely done, but it's another TP off on the backside, and it's going to be the Lulu jumping in at this stage in the game. Has still got a lot of damage, and now it's a 4v4 as these health bars are going very, very low. 2 kills for the Kalista, and Viper once more, 3 kills, triple for Viper, and they want to be able to finish this one off. Smlz flashes away. Will he go down? Probably not, but this tower is dead to rights.
And this is something that EDG talked about after their series with JDG. Meiko in his interview said, hey look, we are fine to play slow, but when our composition needs us to pick up the pace of the game, we know exactly how to do that. And that's what we're seeing right now. With a mid-game team like this, EDG coming online, taking these fights. Now that gold is blowing open to 5,500 gold out of 1 to 2 scraps. And Penguin, once again, does not know how a mute button works.
God damn it, it's touch. It's not a button, it's a touch button, so it's like sometimes it doesn't register. But
so you're an old man with that darn technology. I get it, right?
It's all you and your Facebooks and your TikToks. It's just old man yells at clouds.
Looking at this replay though, you can see EDG, right? They just collapse better. they're already prepared for this play. Viper roaming up here. They wanted to try and move them around after taking that bot lane turret, and the team fighting is just far superior. Ultra Prime haven't really set up in this back to front formation. Smlz is running for the hills alongside Hacker, and now you got a triple kill for this Kalista. And again, we say EDG want to get this Kalista ahead. It was about getting Viper into a position where he can be the carry, where Lulu can enable him, where you've got Zhao who can provide that protection alongside Flandre. Now he's got 5 kills, Immortal Shield Bow completed. A Rift Herald now about to be picked up by EDG. This again now feels like EDG territory.
Now a minute until that dragon spawns. As EDG now pushing towards this mid lane, had just picked up the Rift Herald like you said, and going to drop it down immediately. There's not a lot Ultra Prime could do here, but maybe they do look to try and fight this one out. I don't really recommend going for this one. The Sylas has stolen the quickness, as now Jiejie jumps straight in on top of Hacker, who has to get himself away and shouts about, he uses the quickness, but it's the quickness on top of you that's going to kill you. Now Flandre is here. Jiejie keeps going forward. He does not care about that Glacial Fissure whatsoever. And then it's just mid lane turret cracked open. 30 seconds until this Drake spawns. It is almost a 7,000 gold lead at 15.5 minutes. And I think this is EDG showing us, yeah, we know how to play so slow games. We know how to play tempered team fights right until we know we're strong. But we also know how to play these very powerful mid-game snowball comps. And it is just going fantastically for them.
And I mean, we saw exactly this against JDG, right? Where they took this mid-game spiking composition. It was a composition built around Kalista, and they were just able to run away with it. Like, this is what I like to see from EDGs, that they have multiple facets as Flandre.
Oh, that's just a fantastic kick over the wall. That's the point that you need from Flandre. That's what makes Lee Sin so damn important in these compositions. The ability to be able to knock the Volibear just beyond the wall, so he has that little bit of extra distance to go to get out. He does end up falling. It is a 7,000 gold lead. Volibear's body was standing up there for some reason on the bot side. It looked a bit weird on my screen, but now you're looking at a Mountain Soul, another Mountain Soul for the side of EDG, potentially in 2 Dragons' time. ZS gets ShiauC out of dodge as he was in no man's land.
Yeah, and the thing here is, like, look, Ultra Prime, a lot of their champions are spiking at pretty much the same time as EDG, right? If you look from jungle down, you're pretty much on the same path. It's just that EDG have already got a running start. The only place that they outscale is going to be ZS in that top lane. And he's so far away from being relevant. He's got the Rift Maker. Realistically, you want that Zhonya's. You still want the Cosmic Drive. Hell, honestly, with the Scout and Jiejie and Viper, you need that early Oblivion Orb / Morellonomicon as well. So the relevancy of this Gwen is not going to be there for a long, long time. And EDG have control completely of the map. And this is now, again, an uphill battle for Ultra Prime.
I was going to say they're clearing out vision for around the Baron pit, but they don't even have the Baron spawned yet. Still 2.5 minutes until that objective does come up. As we can see, the grand entrance used there to put a little bit of hurt down onto ShiauC. They're just going to keep taking camps. This is just EDG, again, understanding their composition, understanding what they want to do, as Jiejie takes the Glacial Fissure to the face. They're going to use the TPs on the backside of this. The Stormbringer not enough to keep this Volibear alive, and now we can see they're going to jump in. Oh, Jiejie survives. 2 kills to Viper on this Kalista is really starting to snowball out of control. Already got 2 items. He got the Immortal Shield Bow, and of course the Gwynzoo's Rage Blade, and just more and more gold being fed into Viper.
Jiejie nearly question mark pinging Flandre though, booting Ultra Prime members onto Jiejie, who's got like a sliver of health, but Meiko trying to go in with the grand entrance, will be backed off now as actually Ultra Prime will manage to hold on towards this tower as Scout whittles away at the top point.
Yeah, they're spreading the resources, but it's just becoming so thin for our Ultra Prime. Yes, you defend the mid, but it's got a half health on the top turret, 1/3, maybe a quarter left on that mid tier 2 turret as well. Baron's going to be spawning in 1.5 minutes. You've got Dragon spawning in 3 minutes. You've nearly 3 item Kalista right now, so there's just not really a lot you can do. Even going to go towards that Wit's End, as we can see the Negatron Cloak and the Hearthstone Axe. And even Flandre, just on this Lee Sin, knowing he has the execute damage, going to be able to use it pretty damn handily. And oh, I feel like if Ultra Prime had known there was no Blast Cone there, would have been a little bit more of a chase. But speaking of chases, ShiauC now caught up, doesn't want to waste his flash, and Meiko gets some supportal combat.
I don't know why he was there. Like, what part of this river belongs to you? It hasn't belonged to you since like 2 minutes into this game, and ShiauC walks in, gets caught out, and now EDG starts to push forward. Flandre looking for the Dragon's Rage as Meiko also on the flank means with this tiny bit of HP on this tower, Ultra Prime have got to turn to base.
As the tier 2 broken open, and again mid lane just opens up so much of this map. EDG in full control as they have a 9,500 gold lead, or just over 9. To look at that replay now, there's going to be some fancy stuff as it's just Jiejie, you know, just tanking up so damn much.
Yeah, and look, Viper as well, you can see between Scout and everything else coming his way. But what's Jiejie? I saw that kick coming through from Flandre and I was like, ShiauC could come in and
almost
actually finish him
troll.
off. But yeah. Almost looking like Miley's in there, but not quite. But still, great play coming through from the EDG members. Again, look, I mean, I don't know what we had here. Kind of the expected play, honestly, when you've got a team the caliber of EDG against a bottom tier team like Ultra Prime, this is kind of what you get.
Yep, there's only so much you can do there, ZS. Flandre will pick up that kill onto you as the Sonic Wave does land, gets the execution onto it. And again, we're seeing a fantastic game from Jiejie. 3-0-10 onto this Zhao. I don't believe he's died so far this series. I'll have to triple check that one, but almost a perfect KDA on the day, and it's just becoming harder and harder to kind of pick anyone else in the league that's just going to be able to stand up to EDG. Yes, LNG are there, but just the way EDG have won, the way they've come out with these wins, it's just been just on a different level.
It's so difficult to try and play against EDG, especially when you're not as coordinated, right? We talked about how the team fighting for these guys just were nowhere near as strong as EDG. Their mid-game pressure is not as good. Their understanding of how to play at the map isn't quite there. So when you end up in a situation where you're against one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team that we have in the LPL right now, it's just going to be a different ballgame.
Yeah, it really does feel like EDG are just going from strength to strength to strength and showing us multiple different ways of playing the game and how they are comfortable in playing the game. Wits End finished up there for the Kalista, so now on 3 items, and this snowball is very much an avalanche at this stage. Ultra Prime, you gotta hunker in, you gotta hope for a miracle, you gotta hope for divine intervention, the second coming of Christ at this stage, because you are just, there's just nothing going for you right now.
And I can confirm, having just checked, Jiejie is still deathless in this series. Did not die in the last one, and now looking pretty good in this series as well, as EDG take control of this top side and look to move towards Baron.
Jiejie just face tanking all these mystic shots and just does not care. You can see them now with the Shirelia's Revelry, just pushing forward, knowing that they can take away all of this newly put down vision that Ultra Prime had tried so hard to give and to get going for them. And it's just not what you want to be seeing from Ultra Prime. They just can't really go anywhere for it. There's the grand entrance down on top of him. The quickness. ShiauC is dead. Nothing he can do about that one. And these mystic shots just haven't got the same level of damage that you would want to see them now at 22 minutes into the game. With the Sylas dead, this is almost certainly going to see a Baron take now for the side of EDG. There is a teleport available for Flandre and for the ShiauC, but I don't see a world where they can really contest this.
I love seeing the multiple different styles from EDG as Ultra Prime to move in, Hacker. Now, remember, never mind. I was going to say Smite's been changed, so then you're both on 950. It doesn't matter if you got the level advantage, but yeah, he ain't contesting.
Nope, the Baron is dead. We didn't even look at it be finished. As Sylas going to be TPing onto the backside of this fight. They're going to jump straight onto ShiauC and, of course, onto Hacker. It's a 3v3, but the damage has already been done. Flandre now looking to use the needlework to maybe clean this one up. These 2 AP carries going to do a lot of damage. A lot of shutdown gold going to be going over as well. As you can see, Meiko flash grand entrance. Scout should be able to get away as now Jiejie has joined the fray with his trusty sidekick Viper. And this Viper has got some teeth, has got some venom, and will pick up a triple off the back of it. It was as good as it could be for Ultra Prime, but in the end, you're just too far behind.
The second triple for Viper in this game now, able to pick that one up. Baron minions now, and honestly, you've got 30 seconds until Ultra Prime are up. They can try and crack open the base if they want, but EDG going to back away, spend their spoils, and especially for Viper, 11-2 thus far in this game. He's a big old boy.
He is. And someone we kind of went underneath our radar a little bit is Scout on this Lulu. 2014, full 25 stack. Medjai is just able to keep himself and his team healthy and fighting as we have a look at this extended fight. And again, this is just your hacker and ShiauC, your Volibear and Braum. There's not really a lot you can do. And it was great to see Ultra Prime turn it around after getting the double TP in, but you're just too far behind.
Yeah, it's the turnaround into the turnaround. Those Viper shows up and they're getting caught on the bottom left corner.
They are. The bottom left corner pan up into a full screen as a 12,000 gold lead, nearly 13,000 gold lead is being... Yeah, there you go. That's all. I don't know why you repeated that on me.
No, I said a full screen. Because they're screaming.
Oh, I thought you said a full screen, and I was like, what?
No.
Well, this game is pretty much going to be decided now in the next 40 seconds or so. We've got about a minute of EDG on this Baron as they look to try and just crack open the base. They get Inhibitor in the mid. Going to be taken down pretty damn easily, but there's a Shirelius and it's a go, go, go! Everyone move forward and try and catch somebody out. The quickness was used, and we are going to see Hacker go in with the Swordbringer, but instantly deleted. There's nowhere for you to go. The Gwen has been taken out as well. You cannot go aggressive on this team. They have too many ways of just stopping you and your forward motion as EDG continue their forward motion into this base of Ultra Prime.
Sometimes a man gets to choose his death, and Hacker decided to go down swinging. I respect him for it, but there was never really a fair fight as EDG looked to close it out.
Clean, cool, calm, and in all worlds, very, very convincing from EDG. They're padding out the stats a little bit. They know they can. 12, 2, and 3 on this Kalista for Viper. 5, 1, and 15. So Jiejie did actually end up getting a death in this game. 1 death across 2 games. And EDG with a 2-0 in the most convincing of fashions.
Yeah, and absolutely destroying Ultra Prime, and honestly kind of the expected results. But I kind of want to bring up a topic that we tried to touch on as we saw that Baron fight happening, is just the different styles we see from EDG, right? Like, we're getting these slower paced games where we're looking for this mid to late game team fighting coming through with things like the Kog'Maw, hell, even the Senna, and these kind of guys. Whereas then you're also looking across at these very quick games where we're seeing the LeBlancs coming through, where we're seeing the Kalistas coming across, and EDG have the ability to snowball these games. And it feels like for EDG, although they still rely on these dragons and team fights, there's not just one facet to their play. They can still take both sides of the coin and play it very well.
Yeah, it all kind of snowballed away around that Rift Herald fight. It was very much EDG saying, look, we know we're stronger, we know we can kind of get the advantage we need, and they were able to funnel gold onto the Kalista, and then of course it all just fell apart for Ultra Prime. And this is the kind of loss where you're just outmatched in every single position, in my opinion. I think there's not really much to be sad about. Yes, a loss is still a loss, but you're against EDG. These guys are going to be very, very heavily favored against you, and you had opportunities. I think Hacker did have some small ones in the first game, but the second game, there was nothing they could do. EDG just read them like a book, got the snowball, and ended the game.
Yeah, and I think it's going to fill a lot of EDG fans with hope, right? Because, again, like, this was an organization that was created in 2014. The first time that they did not go to Worlds since that organization was created was 2019. They didn't get there in 2020 as well. And now, coming into 2021, it really feels like this team is coming together, and they do have that hope once again to get to the World Champions and have a really good showing at it as well. So, honestly, I'm hoping that we do get to continue to see this drive and this growth from EDG going forward, because although I think a lot of people look at them and go, well, you know, they don't have the same, to quote the lads, the pizzazz, whatever other, the mojo that you look towards, like Top Esports or FPX or some of these other teams. I still think they're a damn good team. They're very, very clean. And sometimes you don't need that, like, absolute crazy wow factor in every single one of your games when you're just cleanly closing them out. But when you look at EDG, they still have that opportunity, right? Scout, still an insanely good mid laner. Viper, I mean, look at the top 5 plays from Spring. He's pretty much in every single week. Like, we know they still have that wow factor. We just don't always get to see it because they don't always have to show it.
And that's the big thing as well. Like, you mentioned Worlds qualification, and I think the greatest thing about being an LPL fan is that regardless of who our 4 teams are, I thoroughly believe that every single one of those teams has a shot of winning. And I think we've proven that throughout it. So even if EDG don't win Summer and don't go through as the first seed, they go through as third seed on points or third seed through Gauntlet or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I still have full faith that they're going to be able to kind of go, yeah, you're third seed. Look at Suning from 2020. They went in as third seed and they still were able to get all the way to the finals. It's that level of quality that we have here in the LPL that really does just make you excited and feel good about these teams. And yes, there will be games like this where when you have 17 teams and there will be your Ultra Primes versus your EDGs, but you kind of take those because the top level of talent, the top 10 teams are just on another level.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I mean, look, the LPL only seems to be becoming more and more stacked each year, right? With more talent coming up from the LDL. Now, unfortunately on Ultra Prime, that LDL talent didn't really get a chance to shine as ShiauC. We talked about the Sylas not having the greatest of matchups here against Scout, and that mid-jungle 2v2 kind of fell apart as a result. But I do think certainly from EDG's point of view, a confident win, a clean win, and one that they're kind of going to go back and go, yeah, I mean, we played this incredibly well, apart from once or twice Viper kind of wandering off by his lonesome.
I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, they are human. They will still make mistakes. But someone who did not make a mistake was Jiejie. And honestly, I think very much deserved for the MVP in Game 2. Was all around the map, able to influence everything. And like you said, even with Viper getting those triple kills, it was off the back of someone like Jiejie getting in and getting the opportunities to present themselves.
Yeah, and honestly, look, I know that Viper got MVP in Game 1, but I think if we're looking at a series MVP, it was Jiejie, right? He had an insane performance in Game number 1, having, again, a lot of impact in those early stages. We saw him 3-0 on the Volibear. He comes into this game, we get the nice play here that you see on your screen from EDG, where they went, right, we've got that teleport advantage from mid lane, let's bring Jiejie down, they go for the dive. He's working super well in conjunction with Scout, and this is something that we were talking about, was this ability for the Lulu and the ShiauC to work incredibly well together. The attack speed buff, the speed ups, the shields, it enables Jiejie so incredibly well when he goes this Gore Drinker style, and you can see just pretty much unstoppable in this game.
Just able to weave in and out of fights, put himself into a winning position, and his team, of course, as well. You can see there, goes in, takes up a load of damage, comes back out, jumps straight back in, knowing he can tank all this up. He's got the Lulu in the back pocket, he's got himself a lot of safety, and he doesn't need to be the carry. I think this is the big thing when we look at EDG and why I'm so impressed with him at all times. Everyone does their job depending on what champion they're on. If they need, Flandre to play tank facilitator, he'll play that. If they need, Viper to play carry, he will do that. But we'll see exactly what way they,